Hey,
Hey, Ferdi, nice
hey
to meet you
Marco,
again.
nice to meet you. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. How is your startup doing?
Yeah, well, we finally can start, but first, let's first try a
Oh,
taste
you
of
brought me
this. I
wine.
brought
Thank
you
you.
wine. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Try this one. That looks good. Okay, yeah, very, very good wine.
It's great, right?
Yeah, it's
It's
awesome.
one of the
Awesome. I
yeah,
really love
it's
it. Awesome wine.
one of the
Thank you.
best wines we have. So, yeah,
Always. Best customers brings the best wine.
yeah. So, I mean, it's been a while since we last met, right?
True.
So last time we met, we did an event storming for the business idea I had.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
I remember. I
you remember?
remember. But maybe could you give me a little bit more context? What was your original
Yeah,
plan, maybe?
sure, sure. So, I mean, right, we finally also got a name. Maybe that's the first point.
Huh.
We got a name, Algorithmic Aromas Tasting Company.
Ooh, where did you get this name from?
I mean, we are cutting edge, so ChatGPT,
Ah,
and
makes
of
sense.
course, like what else? I don't think anymore. I
No,
just use ChatGPT.
makes sense.
So, but I mean, interestingly, since we got the name, we got a lot of funding, so we can finally start developing with the app. So you probably don't really remember the event storming, right? It's been
Yeah, not really, not really. So, but can you give me first? So, what was your original plan to do? You wanted?
yes. I'll give you the elevator pitch again, okay?
Okay, okay, that
So
would be
okay.
great.
So I mean, the idea is we want to bring wine tasting to 2023, basically, right? So today it's still like people they call us, they register for wine tasting, then they come, they pay with cash. I mean, then of course they get some wines recommended, they taste the wines, they tell us I like the wine, I don't like the wine. Then the sommelier brings them the next wine basically, and hopefully they like it more or they like it, uh, yeah, hopefully not less than the wine they had before, right?
You could just bring in more sommeliers, right? Then you wouldn't need us.
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows startups have to scale, right?
Okay, I
That's
see.
just how it goes, it seems. So many years don't scale really well. So that's the reason why I want to actually have it in the app. Yeah.
Our app will scale,
Yes.
of
Yes.
course.
Okay. That's good to
Awesome.
hear. Yeah. So, but maybe let's should we check out the event storming again?
Oh yeah, that's a really good idea. Let's check the event storming. So yeah, maybe you can remind me what was the most important things we did there.
Yeah, I mean, so as I just pitched you, what the app should do in the end, the most important thing is actually the recommendation system. So that is what really should set us apart. So maybe zoom in on that a bit. So a little bit more to the left, a little bit more to the left, please. The other left. Yep. So basically, let's start at the tasting. When the tasting starts, because that's the most important thing for our business. We really want to have the best
So all the
recommendations.
planning is already done, and you have a lot of
Let,
different
let's
things in
let's
there.
do it
But
later. Let's do it later.
okay, okay,
The agile coach we just had, he said I should just do one thing first and do it correctly, and then afterwards I should do more. So
yeah, makes sense.
yeah, let's just start with the tasting. Right, the tasting starts. After that, the taster checks in. Um, then of course he gets what he came for. He gets recommended a first wine. In that case, it's a first-time taster. Of course, they tried the wine, then they rated the wine they just tried, and then yeah, now it gets interesting. Now we have a weighted rating calculated. Um, it's a weighted rating because we figured out after a while that after like about the third glass of wine, people tend to rate the wines all pretty positively. So we have
Oh
to
really?
yeah, nobody would know, but yeah. Um, and then after the rating, we have a global rating for each wine, which we can then update, right? And all that stuff is important for us, for our business, but for the taster, what's really important is, I mean, first, is he still standing, right? Because if he's not standing anymore, we probably shouldn't give him any more wine. But if he's still standing, we recommend the next wine, and hopefully that's the best wine he ever had. And then we go back to right to the taster tries the wine again. So that's basically the whole point of our recommendation system.
Yeah, I get it. I think I remember. Now I I understand what the details were. Okay, yeah, makes sense to me. So actually, to progress from that, so now we have this advanced storming done.
Yeah.
I would suggest to use a new idea. Actually, I've seen this on a conference, and I really like to try it out. And actually, it would also look very good on my CV.
What?
Don't mind it anyway. So
Come on, I'm paying you, man.
this is it's an awesome technique, and I think if we try it this way, you will get exactly what you specified. That's
I'll take your word for it.
yeah, okay, that's the basic idea. So this is a technique by Scott Flashian. He also wrote a book about it, about domain modeling in a more functional way, but don't mind the functional part. Just let's see how we can model this domain easily. And the basic idea is, we always has this gap between us. You tell me something, I really don't get it, or I get it wrong the first time, and the second, and maybe the third. And the idea is to close this gap. And in the past, we used tools like UML and ERD to specify it more clearly. Maybe we can ask the audience, who of you is using UML or ERD diagrams? Who of you has used it in the past? Okay, so most of them already know the pain. So what we nowadays have, or what the problem with these tools were, I quite liked them. They worked for me.
I don't get them. Sorry.
Yeah. I remember you always make ugly faces when you see these tools. So therefore, we now have other tools which are much simpler, like event storming or domain storytelling. And the goal for these tools is just to get a common understanding. It's like, I really need to understand what your domain is all about. I really need to understand how your business works. And these modeling tools help us a lot to get some easy understanding. But there is still some gap. When I start writing code, it's not like I could really show you the code, and the way the app later on works, it's not like the way you like it to work. It's more like what I understood you to like it to work. So we also would like to close this gap, so you can actually see if I specify it correctly in the code. So you can read my code and understand what I am doing.
That sounds great. Yeah, let's try that.
And this is what we call domain modeling, and we do it in a functional flavor. For this to work, we basically specifying types. You don't need to look at our implementation code. You don't need to look at loops and if conditions and stuff like that. We just try to specify your conditions as accurate as we can inside the types. That's the basic idea. So our goal is to get a common understanding. We want to be very explicit, very specific, much more explicit than we are in the event storming. And it's also a starting point for us for the actual implementation. So we can use these types and implement our actual code against these types. So it acts like a contract for us.
So I should understand what you write, basically.
Yes. So please tell me if you don't understand anything of the stuff I write. Okay, so yeah, let's start. So what did you tell me is the most important thing? Where should we start with?
Well, yeah, I'd say the recommendations thing, that we have the best recommendations on the market that really think that could really set us apart in the wine tasting business.
So the event in event storming was that wine is recommended. So the activity for that would be to recommend a wine, right? So can we call it recommend wine?
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Yeah, recommend wine. Yeah.
Okay, so let me just put it there, and then you can give me your impression. So that means you take some wines, not wining, wines. And these wines are of the type wine, and then we get back one wine. Everything clear?
No, not maybe just really try to explain it to me on a really basic level, because right now I don't get it.
Maybe you need some basics. Okay, it's not completely intuitive. I get this. So first of all, recommend wine. This is a type. So this is the type of the activity we are doing. And because we do the functional way, we always need to specify what goes in and what goes out. So what goes in are some wines. So this brackets here at the end means there are several of them. And also this round brackets means this is the input value. So we get some wines from you. You have some wines you want to suggest to your customers. And then one is recommended. One of these wines you recommend, or your sommelier tries to recommend one of these wines. Does it make sense?
Okay, so maybe can we go to the event storming? You show me again the place where we are right now.
Sure, give me a second. Oops, not there. The event storming is here. Yeah.
So where are we at now?
We are here where there is a wine recommended. And then, maybe let's start at the beginning. We are here. The first recommendation is given. You have a taster, and then you recommend them one of the wines.
So that's the recommend wine, and then that's the wine that the taster then can try. That's
yes,
basically
exactly. So taster tried wine means he needs to have the wine first to try it. Okay.
I see. Now, you said like there's a couple of wines going in. Like, is that kind of the wine cellar we have at our tastings?
Oh, you call it a wine cellar. So it's just not any wine you can bring to the taster. It's just the wines from your wine cellar.
Yeah, of course. We have a wine cellar at our tasting facility, and then we can get the wines from there. Yeah.
Yeah, this makes totally sense. So if we have something like that, we of course we put this in. So it's a business term. So we will really use this term wine cellar. Also, you may have noted these things are underlined red. So we also need to define what these types actually are. So one possibility would be now to define the wine. What is a wine? Does it have a color, a year, a name, grapes, and so on? But for the beginning, it would be completely fine if we just leave these details out. So we just want to start with the workflow, the progress, how this works through the application. So I would say we don't know yet what a wine is, so we could say...
So just what we see on the event storming, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So in the event storming, that would be the aggregates. They're coming later. We're focusing on the behavior, on the events. So a wine is unknown at first. So also this wine cellar, we might already know a little bit more about the wine cellar. So I could say this is type wine cellar. And basically it's a list of wines, right?
Multiple wines, you mean?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Sorry. List. I don't know the term. Okay, it's multiple wines. Yeah, let's call it this way. So I could a bunch of wines. So we could say a wine cellar is wine, and as you remember, this brackets means we can have several of them. So now we have this term wine cellar, and we can also call it here wine cellar very clearly in the code. So this is what you mean. Okay, I get it. So okay.
I mean, actually.
No?
Actually, no. I think...
damn it. Okay.
Right. The way it works is someone tries a wine. He says, I like the wine.
Mm-hmm.
The sommelier hears it and brings the next 3 wines based on his experience. And then the taster chooses one wine, because often, the taster is picky about, I don't know, the color of the bottle or some stuff. So we really have to make sure to not only bring a single wine, also not too many wines, but 3 wines seems to be a good amount. So that's what we bring usually.
Okay, so it's not good enough to say you get multiple wines. It's exactly 3 wines.
Marco, I said 3 wines.
Yeah, sure.
I'm the expert here. Don't.
Yeah.
Just type.
Yeah, it's fine. I will do. So it's okay. That's a wine, and a wine. I mean, not a with statement. Damn it.
What's a?
No. Don't mind it. Don't mind it. I need to configure my EDA differently. Let's put it somewhere else. That's fine. There's a wine and not a with statement. Okay, awesome. Okay, so it's exactly 3 wines. So if it's always 3 wines, you need to make this clear in the code.
Yes.
So TypeScript will make sure that it will be always exactly these 3 wines. So now we have this in our types, and we can't break it.
TypeScript is your...
Yeah, this is the programming language we use,
okay.
but actually it doesn't matter too much in this
Okay,
case.
okay. So, okay, so now we can recommend the wine basically, or what are we gonna do here?
Yeah. So, is this what you call a wine recommendation? Is
Yeah,
this-
exactly. 3
Oh,
wines. That's the wine recommendation a sommelier comes out with.
okay, okay. So we
To the
call
taster,
this
yeah.
actually. Oh, please don't import. Too clever IDEs is a bad idea. Okay, so this is actually the wine recommendation, and we will put it in there, and so it replaces in this place. So we have this wine recommendation. So we have the naming inside of our code. This makes a lot of sense. Okay, awesome.
So we have now a recommend wine, and out comes a wine recommendation, right?
Exactly, exactly. And the wine recommendation we defined is a list, or not a list, it's 3 wines. And yeah, we could change it later if you want, because now we have this wine recommendation in place.
Nice.
So what happens then? Does the taster taste all 3 of them?
Maybe let's go back to the event storming real quick.
Okay, okay, okay.
And have a look.
Let's look at the event storming. Okay, where should I look at?
So taster tried wine.
Mm-hmm.
And after that comes the rating, right? Taster says, I like the wine, I don't like the wine. I'm not quite sure if I like the wine. That's kind of some of the answers we get.
Okay. Yeah. So it's only one of the wines he tried, and
yes, he has to choose one of the wines.
Okay.
And then he rates the wine he tried.
Okay, so now we need to make sure that he rates the wine, and also a wine rating is like, I don't know, we can look at this in a second, but it's about this one wine he tried. Okay, this is already, I understand. Okay, so let's say type rate wine, and rate wine is a function that actually takes a rating. And yeah, I just call this wine rating. I have no idea what this is, but let's call this wine rating first. And I also have no idea what happens after that. But we could, so we could just say, oops, we could just say void in here, which means we don't care about what happens yet. So maybe let's focus on this wine rating. So when he rates the wine, what is the wine rating? How do you describe it? What does it consist of?
Well, with our app, we aim for it to be really simple. So I thought about just maybe, I use Google Maps a lot. I check out restaurants, and there's always these nice stars, and it's really easy to rate. So I thought maybe just do a rating with like 1 to 5 or something,
Okay.
Would that be possible?
Yeah, sure. But you not only need the number, but you also need the wine that has been rated, right? Or is it just all?
Yes, the sommelier usually has to remember if hopefully he has not tasted so much wine that they're tasting himself that
our app also needs to remember.
Oh, I see. Yeah, of course.
Okay, so I would say a wine rating combines a wine with a rating.
Yes, you could say that. Yeah.
Okay. Then what you just said, so we need to define what a rating is. So yeah, it's like stars. You said like you want to have like several stars.
Yeah,
right?
yellow stars.
Yellow stars. Okay, I don't care about the color right now. Okay. So
but later on maybe then.
Yeah. So we need to represent them somehow. So
yes.
what values can they have?
1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 star, 5 star.
Okay, I see. So now how do we represent them? Maybe the audience has an idea. How can we represent the wine rating? What would be a possibility? What type would work? I heard integer. I heard number. Boolean. Yeah, then it would be very sad for you because you never get 5-star ratings. A union type. Awesome. Let's go to that. So first, one possibility would be to use number. I couldn't use integer because it's TypeScript, so it only has number. Integer would be a little bit better because you can rate it like 3.5 stars. But a union type is actually better because we can say exactly what values are allowed. So we could say it's either 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 stars. This is of course only useful for very small sets of values, but in this case it's the perfect match. So our compiler will guarantee later on that no other value is possible, and we can get even compile errors if we do anything wrong.
And I, as a PO, can also guarantee that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yes. So it's
Yeah.
a guarantee for you.
That's great.
Can somebody help me with the microphone?
Our dev needs help. Please help him.
I think it's fine. Okay. Yeah. So this is a rating, and you said it's stars. So it's basically a star rating, right? So maybe we should rename this, and yeah, star rating makes much more sense in this case than just call it rating. So
Actually, Marco, one thing maybe. I've wondered the whole time, why is your screen so damn dark? Like, what's that all about? Could you maybe?
Yeah, that's
a really hard time reading
that's the
it.
way we developers work in the cellar, you know.
Can you do something about it? Or?
Yeah. I can. So let's go to light theme. Let's see. So is this bright enough for you?
I like it. I love it.
Okay.
I have the feeling I'm at the wrong conference here as a PO.
Okay, so yeah. So what happens after the rating? I mean, we have rated the wine, but actually, shouldn't we save it? I mean, isn't
you tell me? I don't.
Yeah, we should save it. I mean, this is an app. This is not your sommelier, and somebody needs to remember this. In this
That's
case,
true.
it must be
Yeah.
our database remember it.
Yeah. Then yes.
So
Please save it.
okay, we can also make this clear in the domain. I mean, the actual saving happens later, of course, somewhere in the implementation code. You don't need to care about this, but in the domain, we want to make sure that this process is already in your type, that it's already make sure that the function already needs to save it. And for this to be possible, I would change the rate wine a little bit. So basically, what we need to change is we need to put this wine rating somewhere into. So the question now is, how do you call this thing where the wine rating goes into?
You mean like a profile for a user, which has like
you
which
have this
remembers the
taster and the rating.
It's a taster profile maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
Like each taster should over time get a profile which really tailors the wine to his or her taste.
So it's a taster rating profile, basically.
Yes,
Taster
you could,
rating profile, because it has all the ratings in there. Okay, I see. So okay, actually, and this might look a little bit weird at the start. I have this taster rating profile at both sides. It goes in and it goes out, and this is basically the saving process. Yeah, so you enter a taster profile into the function, which is the current taster profile. It could be empty basically, or maybe you don't have one, and later on you get a taster rating profile with the new rating added to it. So this is basically the process of saving. So we want to make it clear in the domain what happens here. Okay. So so how does this profile look like? What's in there?
Well, I can't really tell you, but something with AI. Like a friend of mine, he has a friend. He says like he knows how to do something with AI to get great
Okay,
stuff.
okay. Something weird stuff happened there. Okay, I see.
So
let's just put unknown in
okay,
there.
good.
That's fine for me.
That's better.
Okay, so so yeah, the next question would be what do we do with this recommendation? So you rate the wine, that's fine. And then we have the recommendation here. Let's take a look. This is the recommend wine. And now, okay. Yeah. Now the question is, so when we want to give a new recommendation, you need to have the taster rating profile first, right? So you know what to
Oh, you
recommend
mean
next. Yeah.
maybe just go back to the event
Ah,
storming
okay,
once
that
more.
would be
Let's have
better.
a
Yeah,
look
yeah, yeah,
at
yeah,
what you
yeah.
actually mean.
Let me. Oh, always the wrong slide. Okay, here it is. Okay, yeah.
So where are we now? No, we have maybe go to the left a bit. So we
Yeah, yeah.
started with taster arrives, right to
Mhm.
the left, and then first recommendation for wine given. Then the
Mhm.
taster tries the wine. There's a rating, and then in the case below, there's the next wine recommended, and then it's the next tasting, basically, right?
Yeah, yeah, and it's a loop. You recommend the next
Yes.
wine, it
Yeah.
gets rated, you get a better recommendation, and so on. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, I got it. So okay, then we actually um there are two cases. I mean, we can first start with just saying, okay, so recommend wine needs a profile to give a better recommendation. So the taster rating profile goes in there. Okay, that's fine. And now the question is this like we have two situations here? Is it like I don't know. This is the when the first recommendation is given, it's different than when you recommend the next wine, right?
Yes, exactly. Because at the first recommendation given, we don't know anything about the taster. Like they tell us they know what they like, but actually they usually don't.
So the first recommendation, you just select one wine from your wine
Yes,
color.
we select one wine that most people like, so
Okay,
that the first wine is not a total disaster for them.
okay, I see. Um, so okay, this is also kind of a disaster. Um, so let's yeah, then maybe let's try to make a generalization. So we want to have these different cases in the recommend wine function. Thank you. Okay, let's try it this way.
So, Marco,
This is completely clear, right?
to be honest, you kind of lost me there. Like question marks, options. What are you talking about?
This is clear, isn't it? I mean, it's
No,
just an option, and you get a profile or not, and then
Marco, you said I should tell you if I don't get it, and I don't get it.
okay, sorry. Okay, maybe let's look at the event storming again. So okay, this is two situations, yes? The first recommendation
Exactly. Yeah, as I said. Yeah.
and the next wine recommendation. Okay, what about if we just make this explicit and just show exactly these two functions, so we don't try to generalize it?
I don't know what general.
Okay. I try something and you tell me if you understand it.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, let's try it this way. Yeah, basically the idea is to have now two functions. So we could say the the first recommendation. Yeah, let me put this even on top, so maybe a little bit clearer from the order. So recommend the first wine doesn't need a taster profile. You recommend the first wine just from your wine cellar. We get a wine recommendation, and the next time you do it, we use the taster rating profile as an input.
Because we already know something about the taster, and that's in the taster rating profile.
Exactly. So
So
this is like
okay,
this is the recommend next wine function. So we have it explicitly like it is on the event storming.
I see.
Okay.
That's
Then
better. That's better.
let's
That
keep
option
it.
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Don't come near me with it, please.
Okay. Okay. This maybe I have a little bit too much generalization done too early. This is like some kind of developer illness. So don't care about it. So now what I want to do is I want to specify more of the types we don't know yet about, and wine looks like a very central type. I mean, we call this an aggregate, but don't mind that yet. So can we go into more details what a wine actually is?
I mean, we have color, right?
You have the color. Okay, I see.
Of course. We have like usually. Let's maybe start simple. Start with red, white, and rosé. That's
Okay,
basically the
so
main
we could
wines
use
we.
the union type like you've already seen. Instead of defining this as a string, we could say wine color could be exactly like red or white, or it could also be what's the last thing?
Rosé.
Rosé. Okay, yeah, let's have it like this. Okay, what
Yeah,
else?
then usually we have a grape
Mm-hmm.
in there.
So grape could be anything, right?
Well, a grape.
So you don't know what a string is. Okay. Okay, I see. Let's call this a grape. Okay, let's call this a grape. So this is your wording. And what the grape is, actually, yeah, we define it like we think it makes sense, and we could change it easily later. So I put it somewhere where you don't care. So okay. So awesome. What else?
Well, there's a name always, right? Each product has to have a name.
I already. Oops.
What?
I wanted to say I already learned, but I didn't. Okay. So okay, a name, and yeah, I put it there as well. So a name could be basically anything, and we can change it later. So that's completely fine. Yep. Okay. What else?
Well, country where the wine comes from. Like maybe our audience can help us. Where does wine come from? Italy.
Too fast. Type country.
He's not the fastest typer, please.
Yeah. So Italy, I heard. What else? France.
We're gonna start with a few, like just for the prototype, you know. Don't worry.
Spain. Okay. Yeah, maybe let's. Oh.
Maybe let's keep it at that for now.
Okay. I guess you have all these wines in your cellar, right?
Of course.
Okay, awesome. So let's keep it for this. And here I think, did we forget something? I think we can start with the app, right? Yeah, okay.
I
We
hear
had this before,
voices.
but we left it out. Okay, let's put the year in there. And so everybody is happy. I heard this from your customers. They want to have a year, right?
Let's listen to our customers, right? Who am I to not listen to my customer? I can't hear the customer no more right now. Anymore. Okay.
Okay, so let's start with this implementation. This is completely fine, right?
To me, that all makes sense now. Yeah.
Okay, then I will go now, implement this against the types we use as a contract, and then we will meet again in 3 weeks. Fine to you?
Sounds good.
Okay, then let's do this.
Marco.
Hey, Ferdi, nice to see
Good
you
to
again.
see you. Hey. How you doing?
Yeah, fine. So, how did your first tasting work?
Yeah, well, first
Oh, I can try one of the wines. Oh,
can
you
try
got me a
another
new one.
wine.
Awesome. Ah, that looks lovely. Oh, yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, rare was really good. Yeah, I loved it.
5 stars?
5 stars. Yeah, sure, of course, 5 stars.
So you know, then the next time the wine, you would even like it more because we always, we learn.
Get even better wines.
Yes.
Which
Exactly.
matches my taste. Oh my god. Okay.
But anyway, so you asked how the tasting was going. So yeah, pretty good actually. We tried a few tastings. We had a few recommendations. Most people were pretty happy, but actually, there's one thing I think we have a problem with, and that is we had following case. We had new tasters coming in, right? And they never been with us before, so we don't have any idea what they like, right? So then they get a wine. It's really sweet. They don't like it at all. They say, okay, they rate it with 1 star. And then they get a second wine, get a recommendation. They choose a second wine, and it's also really sweet. So they get, kind of mad. They are not
rated
really.
it again, and it happens again, or
I'm not sure. Some just
oh,
left
okay, I see.
immediately
Let's
because
take a look at the code. Yeah, should
yeah.
we?
I mean, I told them that we have the best recommendation system ever, and they were really disappointed.
Yeah,
So
your marketing people do that a lot, right?
yeah, sorry, someone has to do it.
So maybe let's take a look at the code. So there must be a bug somewhere in there. Maybe somebody in the audience could tell us. They could debug the code for us. Does somebody see the problem here? So maybe I give some context. Actually, this is like a controller function. This is somewhere in our application, and it gets a rating from the UI, which is a wine rating. It gets the current profile, the current taster rating profile, and it gets the wine cellar. Then the wine cellar rates the wine. So with the value we get from the UI, and then we update the profile, then we save the profile, and then we do a new recommendation. And this recommendation should be a wine that tastes better. So if you rate it really bad, you should get a different wine.
You basically get a really different wine because you didn't like the first
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
right?
yeah. One that tastes completely
Yes.
like the opposite.
Yes.
So somebody sees a problem here. Sorry, again, please. The updated profile. Line 10. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, this looks like we're using the wrong profile. We don't using the updated one. We're using the original one. So your system never learns about that. I have a suggestion. I can
Get more external help or
I mean,
what?
I'm really sorry. This bug is completely on our side, but I can change it away in the types that this bug will never happen again. And would I have done this before, it would actually have never happened. So it makes sense to have this type of knowledge directly into the type system, and then it acts like a test. So the type system could already warn me when I do a mistake like this.
I mean, I don't care. I just want our customers to be happy. So please,
yeah.
please do whatever you.
Yeah, let me just do that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so the basic idea is that we put this concept directly into the workflow. So what we want to have is let me remove this one. I can make this change directly. What we want to have is a new type which represented that we already updated the profile. So this is updated taster rating profile. And actually it's the same thing as the taster rating profile. It has the same data, but we this is in TypeScript, it's called branding. We brand it with a different type information. In other language, sometimes it's called tag types or stuff like that. Here it's basically like it's the same type. We just put an additional information on top of it so that we can distinguish it from the original one. So this is now the updated taster rating profile. And there are I need to change the code here. Sorry, one moment. And what we need to change is that we want to make sure that when we recommend the next wine, that we don't use a taster rating profile, but actually one that has been updated. So where the rating from the UI was already used. So this is the updated taster rating profile. And also we need to make sure that the rate wine function returns an updated taster rating profile. And if we do this, you can already see
It's red.
the profile is red, and you get an error like argument of taster rating profile is not assignable because it needs an updated taster rating profile.
So red is bad, or what is red?
Yeah, red means we've broken it somehow, and now we need to fix it. So this is this is an early warning sign. Even before I start doing any tests, already the type system can tell me the workflow is broken. I can't use the profile here. I need to use the updated profile, and then I can just fix it, and everything's fine. Okay.
So this should work now as
we
wanted
this
to.
This should work now. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's basically it. So we fix the app and we deploy it and run it again. You can have your next tasting, and hopefully you have less angry customers.
I hope so too, Marco. Really, I do.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah. Good.
Otherwise we
See
get
you
blocked
in
the funding.
about 3 weeks.
Okay, let's see you in 3 weeks. That's fine.
Marco.
Hey, Ferdi, nice to see
Hey.
you.
Hey, how you
How
doing?
was your last tasting?
It was really good. Happy tasters, and I actually brought you another wine, Marco. How about having a taste?
The last wine I rated 5 stars, right?
Yes,
And it adapts to my preferences.
exactly.
Awesome, but for now,
Industry leading
I would
algorithms.
prefer beer. So
A beer.
just for now.
That's a betrayal. Okay, anyways, let's focus on business. Well, Marco, the tasting went great, but we need to make more money. To be frank, we need another revenue stream, and I have an idea.
Okay, I see. What should we do?
So, what we want to do is, so the taster comes, they like the wine, and hopefully they like the wine that much that they want to buy some wine from us, take home a few bottles, right? And what I thought, if we have already this app, we can easily, I don't know, create a pop-up there or something, so they see, okay, you can now buy this wine at an exclusive deal, stuff like that. So a sale, basically, right?
Okay, I see. So we now need to put this wine on sale, and we need to distinguish if the wine is on sale or not, right?
Yes, exactly. So, and then there are different types of sales, right? So there are sales that are stock sales, which means we have a particular stock in our wine cellar of that type of wine.
So you have a number of different wines.
Yeah, we have, for example, 200 bottles of the wine you just didn't drink, and yeah, so you could potentially buy 200 of them, and after that our stock is gone. So that's the sale period. Stock is gone, sale is over. And then we also would like to have a campaign sale, you know, like for example, Christmas campaign is like from 20th of December to 23rd or something.
So it has a start and end date, basically.
Exactly.
Okay. Let's put it there. Okay, I see. So yeah, that's basically it. So now we can say something is on sale or is not on sale, and it could have a campaign start and end, and it could also have a stock. Is it possible that something is like not on sale and still has a campaign start and end date?
Wouldn't make any sense to me. Like, why would it? Why should it?
And the stock, is it like the bottles you have in general, or is it only for sale, the sale thing?
I mean, we only care about when it's on sale, about the number.
So otherwise the stock doesn't make any sense.
Not for buying, no.
Okay, I see. Oh, okay. Then
not for no. I mean, for buying it does, but not for the, like, we want to show the customer, like, okay, we have 20 bottles left, and for this price, and you are the chosen one. To
be honest, then it doesn't make sense to model it this way, because otherwise we could have invalid values. We could have some wine that is not on sale and still have a stock, or still have a campaign end, or something like that. Or you could even have a campaign end and not a campaign start. And these are not really valid values, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I have another suggestion. We could do it this way. We could say, okay, let's make a union type again and say something is on sale, is its own type. There's an on sale type. And this on sale type, distinguish between exactly the 3 types of sale you already mentioned. So it's like this union type we used before, but now every type of sale is its own kind, and we can define what this type actually means. So what we would do is we would distinguish between wines that are not on sale at all. Then we have wines that are in a campaign sale, and only in this case we have a from and a to date. And some wines are on a stock sale, and then only in this case, only in this very specific case, we also have a stock. So if you would have been a developer, you could imagine this is like an enum with different kind of payloads, so to say. But in TypeScript, it's called a discriminated union type. And this means we can not only distinguish between different states, we can also distinguish between a payload that's only valid in one specific case. So if we do it like this way, it's not possible to have any value which doesn't make sense in the system. So we can actually enforce the invariance. This is called in domain-driven design. Okay. Yeah, and I think that's about it.
That's about it.
That's about
Great.
it. So
that's it. I'm back as a
okay.
dev.
Let's step out of the roles. I'm still a dev, even if it's not on my cap anymore. And actually, Ferdi is not a dev. Ferdi is not a PO. He's a dev. He wanted that we make this really clear that he is not a PO in real life.
Could be career ending. Like, I'm just kidding. But yeah. So let's do a quick wrap up of what we actually did here.
So let's first look at what is this in general. So the whole process of domain modeling is a technique where you can work with business people directly on the code, hopefully without them running away. So we want to make it easy, understandable, that they can actually read the code. They don't need to write it, but they need to read and verify if it still matches their expectations. What happens before? What happens before normally is an event storming. So does this work? Oh, this works, yeah. So of course you can use something else like domain storytelling or some other technique, but you want to get to this common understanding first before you start diving deeper into the code. Yeah, the advantages are it's real. It's not like a fancy pick. It's like we actually have code here as a result, and this code can be used then for actual implementation. So it acts like a contract. And yeah, now what we need to do, or what we need to be able to do this, is to have a strong type system. You need a language with a type system that is strong enough to express this specific business know-how. And for that, you need something like discriminated union types. And the original book, Domain Modeling That Functional, was written using F#. F# is the programming language, and F# has a really strong type system. Unfortunately, we don't have so many projects with F#. I'm not sure. Does somebody of you have F# projects? That would be interesting. No, I don't see a hand raised. Okay. So we looked at which languages has a type system which is powerful enough and which are mainstream.
And which do we know? Like, there could be others, but
yeah, maybe there are others we just don't know about. So the programming languages with a strong type system are like Haskell, Frege, Idris, Scala, and so on. But unfortunately, most of them, we can't use them in our projects. It's really hard to use them with our clients. So we have to stay with mainstream languages. And a lot of mainstream languages don't have this kind of strong type system. But we found two that are in this intersection. So TypeScript and Kotlin are actually strong enough that they can be used for this kind of modeling, and they're also mainstream. So maybe there are more. We need to look into Rust in the future.
Let's move on. We have a few more slides. Let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on. Okay.
We wanted to highlight the patterns we just did because, I mean, I'm the PO. I don't understand anything of code, so now we take the time to actually go over the things we did, so you can see them again, take them home, and maybe have fun with them. So, I mean, the first thing here is explicit options. So actually we did a bit more in our play, but basically what we're trying to do here is, instead of saying something is on sale or is not on sale, true, false, Boolean, we actually want to make it explicit with an enum type or a union type, which is not on sale or stock sale. So it's a bit more explicit, easier to read, easier to reason about. Then we took it a step further. Actually, we also created basically the signatures of each of these instances. Right? We have a not for sale, which has nothing; it's not on sale. We have a stock sale, which has a stock, right, a number, and we have a sale type campaign, which has a from and a to date. Right.
So, and the idea of this, that we can really use invariant enforcement with this. So, like a value like this, where on sale is true, but it doesn't have the campaign end, and it even has a stock, wouldn't make any sense. we don't want to be a value like this even representable in the type system. So the type system already can make sure that these types are not allowed.
So that means you don't only see it if it crashes in production or you write a test and it's red, but you actually, if you try to write it, just your compiler tells you that it's not possible, right? So that leads to more valid types. So actually the type can only be instantiated if they are valid, if they have all the values they need, right?
Yeah, and the other idea is to make data really explicit. So if we have some choice, some business information, we want to put it explicit into the type system as we can, saying it's exactly 3 wines or it's exactly these values from 1 to 5, not just number.
Yeah. And yeah, that's more of a functional thing. We want to avoid side effects. We want to have in our domain somewhere, of course, we have to save the tasty rating profile, but in our domain code, we want to only have a return value and not a side effect where something gets saved or something like that, right?
And yeah, this is the other thing you've already seen in the buggy code. So we want to have an expressive workflow and to make sure that we can avoid this kind of errors by already having more clear types. Another example, which is from Scott's book, is like if you have an email address, you can have just a string representing it, but it's better if you distinguish between a valid and an invalid email address, or an email address and a valid email address, and then you can even have an external service validating it. And everything that needs a valid email address can make sure that it's already been validated. So the compiler already knows only to use emails that will be validated later. So it's a way to combine runtime basically to the compile time. That's the idea here.
Yeah, one more thing. What we also did right from the beginning is start inside out. So we started with a result or basically a behavior, let's say, right? A recommend wine, wines go in, wine comes out. We started with the result, the behavior, and the details, like what is a wine, etc. We can do that later. That's not the first priority here.
Yeah, and therefore we omit the details and can use something like the type is just unknown. That's good enough to formulate the behavior, and then you can specify the exact details later.
Explicit behavior, yeah. So that's another thing. That's the part where I just didn't get it with the option stuff and all that. And I mean, I was playing a PO, but still, it just gets more complicated to reason about, right? It's something can be there or cannot be there. It's just more difficult to reason about. And also, we try to stick to what we had on the event storming, right? We had a first recommendation and then later on another, and so we really try to also see that in the code. Of course, that's a bit more overhead, but in that case, we thought it made sense.
Yeah, and the last thing I think is the important one. Of course, we want to use business terms whenever we hear them. So we have domain-driven design is called ubiquitous language. We have a common understanding. We have the same language. We use the language the business people, the domain experts use. We also use this language inside of our code. So we want to really identify them and use them wherever possible. And yeah, then we have some tips.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can take, even if it's little things, you can take something home with you. Like be precise and explicit about your types, as precise and explicit as you can be. Don't be too fancy with the code. Like, of course, you don't always show it to the PO, but still, I think it's a good idea to keep being connected to the business, because maybe in a year you don't understand something anymore, and then you can actually talk with business about it. And yeah, listen carefully to the domain experts, right?
That's the most important thing.
Yes.
Thank you. That's it.